Alright, what's going on today, guys? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at my personal favorite weapon and perhaps the best weapon in all of Elden Ring, the Marais Executioner Sword. This video is going to showcase it against all the mainline bosses, so first things first, let's get into the build. Obviously, we're running Marais Executioner Sword at a plus 10. We also have the Finger Seal for our incantations, Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength. With armor, it's just kind of personal preference, whatever you guys want to use, but I use the Banished Knight Helm, Hoslow's armor, Scaled Greaves, and then also the Veteran's Gauntlets, and then we're going to proceed forward to the Talismans I always use. Radahn Sword Insignia for successive attack power. We also have Millicents Prosthesis for more successive attack power. Running with Shard of Alexander for the increased Ash of War damage. And I also have Erdtree Favors +2 just for an all-around, well-rounded talisman. We also have the Godfrey icon. Anytime you guys see me use charged Ashes of War instead of just regular, I'm running that instead. We also have the Oppaline Bubble tier for damage resistance, and then the Thorny Crack tier for more successive attack power. If you guys want to go ahead and pause the video right here and take a look at the stats, this is going to be a level 300 endgame build, so all bosses in this video are going to be featured on New Game +6. The two stats that matter the most are going to be Strength and Arcane, because that's what the sword scales the most with. But with the deduction out of the way, let's get into what you guys really came for, the bosses. Let's get things started. Starting things off with Margit, he does have a couple good punish windows, primarily being his big hammer slam, but starting things off, I'm usually impatient. I'm just going to go for the throw right off the bat. Gonna go get out of the way of these couple next swings and just kind of judging what he's doing here. Gonna roll out of the way of this one here, and he kind of moves out of the way, but that's okay. He's gonna follow up with that hammer slam I was just talking about. So we're gonna just want to dodge into that, and that's a perfect opportunity to just go for Ash of War tap right there. Gonna whittle him down to pretty much no health. I'm gonna wait for another opportunity, and he's being really moving for me in this fight, but he actually goes for a nice little hammer slam here again, so I anticipate it, roll into it. And that's gonna take him out with just a couple taps, and Margit, easy peasy with this sword. Let's proceed forward to Godrick. Godrick is kind of like Margit with his punish windows. There's definitely a couple you want to look out for. One being this first swipe he usually starts out with. You just roll out of the way of that one and just go for a tap with Ash of War. He's going to follow things up with his wind attack. I was expecting the slam, but he actually stopped midway and caught me out with the wind blast, which I was not ready for, but that's okay. Not too much damage. We're going to go ahead and roll into this one here, and I'm just going to do an R1 for a little bit more damage. He's going to follow that up with his 5-part combo. Whenever he does this, I kind of just get out of the way and let him do the animation. On the 5th slam, I get a little bit greedy and mistime it, but that's okay. And we're just going to tap the Ash of War, and that's going to go ahead and push him into phase 2 range. Whenever he's right here, I just get out of the way and just go for a tap again, just to kind of push a little bit more damage before the cutscene begins. So starting off in phase 2, we are running the Godfrey icon for this fight, just to maximize the damage with the sword to its full potential. And with just one tap, that's going to completely nullify his phase 2. So if you guys are having problems after he gets out of that dragon attack, it's definitely a good option. Just kind of one-shot him before he can begin anything else. But that's going to be Godrick. Let's proceed forward to Rennala. With this weapon, Rennala feels laughably easy, and I'll show you guys why once we get her out of her bubble here. So starting off, we're always just going to take out the 3 sweetings to knock her out of her shield. So we got one down there, there's the second one there, the other one spawns across the room. And once we get this one right here, I'm going to go right up to her, and we are running Godfrey icon once again for this one, just for the extra charge potential. So she's going to come out of her bubble, and I'm just going to go for the full L hold on the Ash of War, and as you guys see there, that's just going to completely one-tap her for phase 1, no problem. Moving forward to phase 2, I always recommend running right into the Common Azure, that way you're directly underneath her and it kind of misses you. We're going to roll into that, and then we're going to throw the sword here, and I get greedy and do another throw, but she bounces backwards, but no problem there. Get out of the way of this magic, and with just one more tap, that's going to be her in just 2 throws in phase 2. The dragon clips me out, but it doesn't really matter. She's already down. We took care of the primary issue. So Rennala is easy peasy with this sword. Let's move forward to Radahn. Keeping things moving with Radahn, this is one of the few fights that actually include the buffing routine in the fight. Just always assume that I'm using Golden Vow and Flame Grant Me Strength in these fights. Moving into the fight itself, he's going to start things off with his 6-part combo. Similar to Godrick, I just kind of let this animation play out and just kind of get out of the way and let him finish it up. We're going to move into underneath him here, and I'm going to go for a 1-tap with the sword, doing about a quarter or so of his health, not too bad. Right here, I kind of misjudged. I definitely could have thrown the sword right there, but I didn't, but that's alright, and I mistime it and whiff it. He's going to go for his first phase transition, going to anticipate that and wait for him to finish up the animation once again. Go for another throw and put him under half his health bar, and just barely miss the kill right before he goes into phase 2 right here. I'm going to go ahead and throw the sword and just barely miss him before he takes off, which is kind of unfortunate, but no big deal. But while we're waiting for Radahn to come back down, if you guys have made it this far in the video, if you don't mind leaving a like on the video, I would sincerely appreciate it. But moving back to the fight itself, he's just going to be a 1-tap, so I'm going to go right into him with Torrent here and jump off, and with one swing, that's going to be General Radahn. Always a pleasure to fight him. Let's move things forward with Godfrey. So with Godfrey and Godfrey both, I always try to bait out the big hammer throw at the beginning of the fight. Unfortunately, he does not do it for me this time, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and go for a swing there, and I'm trying to look for the attack where he does his hammer slam and spins around. It gives me an excellent window to throw my sword, but for the first part of this fight, he was just not cooperating. So I'm just going to dodge around him for a little while here. Right here, I get a little bit impatient and go through a throw, and he clips me with it, but that's okay. Going to wait for him to do this slam here, and then he finally gives me the move that I want right about here. Going to go for that and then strafe the other way around and throw the sword for a good amount of damage there. He's going to get out of the way, and I'll jump over this one here, and he's going to go for the two-part again. 1, 2, and then right here I go for a heal, and he stomps me for the input read, but that's all right. Following that up, he finally gives me another swing around right here. Going to roll around that one, throw the sword, and just with a couple hits, he's going to go down easy. Let's move forward to Morgott. Morgott's pretty similar to Margit. The primary attack you're going to want to look out for is his big hammer slam that leaves him very vulnerable to his attack. Speaking of which, right there, we're going to dodge into that one and go for the sword throw, doing a really, really good amount of damage. He's going to go for his swipe and get out of the way of that one there. Roll into this and get clipped a couple of times, but that's okay. I'm going to wait for him to do that there. And then he's going to do another hammer slam to take the opportunity to once again throw the sword. That's going to push him into phase 2. Going to back off and let him do his little acid breath stuff, and we're going to refill the mana and the health right here. Going to wait for him to finish up the animation. It's another excellent opportunity for a sword throw, and he actually does his sword call down, which is the third attack that you're always going to look for. And with just a couple more swings, I don't know how I hit him right there because I was just being greedy, but it managed to work. Morgott done easy. Let's move forward to Fire Giant. Moving things along with Fire Giant, this is going to be one of those fights where once again I included the buffing routine just for to have my buffs last a little bit longer throughout this fight. He can be kind of tedious at times, so I was just anticipating a longer fight than what we've been used to just because he's so movie in phase 1. Going to go ahead and roll through the snow attack there, and he's going to go for his jump right here. Going to roll into that, and we're going to start things off with a just tap start sword throw. That's going to break his ankle bracelet, and we're going to go through another throw. I actually kind of missed the weak spot there, but that's okay. And with the third, he had enough, and he's going to roll out of the way with this one here. Going to jump on Torrent and follow him. He's going to go for the fireball attack, which gives me a perfect opportunity to get right underneath him here with the sword. And I didn't even realize for a second, but I was actually one-handing it, so what you guys are seeing is still one-handed damage, which is insane. And with one more throw, that's going to push him right into phase 2. Starting off with phase 2, we're always going to want to wait for his hand to come down, and we are running Godfrey icon for this fight, so we can do the full charge sword potential. So right here, we're going to go ahead and charge the sword up and almost kill him. I just barely missed this hand right there, and he's going to do this breath attack. Jump on Torrent to get out of the way of that, because as you guys know, that can be really deadly. The tracking on it is just really weird. And right here, he's going to go for his eruption attack, and I get greedy and just decide to send it and get right underneath him. Going to go for another full charge sword attack, and that's going to take out Fire Giant. And I do believe that one was hitless. You guys can let me know if I'm wrong in the comments, but a pretty simple fight for that one. With Fire Giant down, you guys know it's time for Godskin Duo. Alright, the fan favorite Godskin Duo. With Godskin Duo, I always highly recommend doing Noble first and then switching to the Apostle. It makes the fight a little smoother and just easier in my opinion. I'm looking for his big thrusting attack, and he does give it to me right off the bat, so I'm going to roll into that one and have a sword throw ready for him. Pushes him into phase 2 range, and I'm going to anticipate that and have a full charge sword throw ready for him when he comes out of it. Taking the Noble out was pretty easy. Focusing down on the Apostle now, he's a little more passive than he would be in phase 2, so it works out. I go for a heal, and he does input read it, but that's okay. Gonna get a little bit closer to him, and I do get a little bit impatient, just go for a sword throw, which it actually manages working out because it pushes him into phase 2 range as well. With his phase transition, I always like rolling into it because it doesn't damage you, and then we're just gonna go for a one tap with Ashen Ward, taking him out. And as the Apostles goes down, make sure you guys get a couple extra swings in there to do a little more damage. Noble's going to come back, and I was just ready to wrap this fight up as soon as I could, so we're going to roll into this one here, go for a tap with the sword. He does manage to swipe me here. We'll go forward here, and one more swing. That's going to take care of Godskin Duo, no problem. Let's move forward to Maliketh. So Beast Clergyman might be the most singular boss that's the worst for this weapon, just because he's so movie. There's just not very good punish windows that you can have with the sword. There is one in particular that we see towards the end of the fight, but for now I'm just going to kind of anticipate his moves and do what I can. So we're just going to go ahead and let the fight proceed, and like I said, I'm just waiting for the window that I get, and he doesn't really give it to me. Right here I do go for a throw here, but he moves out of the way unfortunately. Just going to dodge the rocks here, and he clips me pretty good right here a couple times. Those sword swings come out so fast, so sometimes I just don't anticipate it properly. He's going to go for another swing, and right here is the attack that I want right after this rock throw. He does this little drag around, and you can just run around him right here. Going And I'm going to throw the sword, and that finally pushes him right into phase 2. Maliketh has a lot more windows than he does, so we're going to make quick work of him here. Right here, we're going to want to get underneath him, and I'm going to go for a sword throw. He must have saw that coming because he does get out of the way. He's going to follow that up with his jump into Destined Death, which is an excellent window for this weapon. So we're going to get out of the way there, throw the sword, and just get out of the way, wait for him to follow up. He's going to go for his acrobatics attack right after this, and I go for a heal, and I get punished for it, which is perfectly fine. Dodging into those is always like we always do, moving out of the way there. And then we're going to wait for him to do a nice little swing around. I'm going to roll around and throw the sword right into his leg, and that's going to take Maliketh out. Pretty fairly simple. I'm definitely happy that I finally got this guy's moveset down. He always gave me a lot more trouble, but I definitely enjoy fighting him more than I used to. Let's move forward to Gideon. Gideon's an excellent boss to show you guys the full buffing routine. Starting things off, we would just want to do the Flask first, just because it lasts the longest. Follow that up with Golden Vow, then Flame Grant Me Strength, so just use your longest lasting buffs first. Moving to Gideon, I really screwed this one up. I got really greedy and misanticipated. You guys want to wait for him to finish this line of dialogue before you throw the sword. I did not, which he's able to roll out of it, which is fine. I managed to clean up. So he's going to go for a heal. I'm going to go for another sword throw, and he's going to back off. And I whipped this one right here, but with just one more sword throw, he's going to go down pretty simple. This sword makes quick work of Gideon. Definitely capable of one-shotting him. Like I said, you guys are just going to want to wait for a little further into the dialogue than I did because he gets a little bit stun-locked. But either way, pretty straightforward stuff. Let's move forward to Godfrey. Alright, Godfrey, first Elden Lord, best fight in the game, changed my mind. As I mentioned with Godfrey, we're going to want to bait out his hammer throw, which I do manage to get right here. Going to get out of the way of that one. That's going to allow me to go for a full charge. I do get clipped, but I think the damage trade is perfectly worth it because it does push him right into phase transition range. I'm going to roll into this one, go for a tap with the sword here, and then I'm just going to kind of let him jump around for a little bit. Like I mentioned, I do really enjoy fighting this boss, so I just kind of time it a little longer than some of the other ones. He's going to go for another jump here, jump over that, and he's going to go for the Earth Shatter attack, so we're just going to jump 3 times, 1 there, 2 there, and then with the final one. And I'm going to move forward, and I thought this was going to phase transition him, but it didn't, so I get punished for it, which is perfectly fine. Going to get back up, go for another swing. Horaloo always opens with the same attack, and it's a perfect opportunity to go for the sword throw. So we're going to go ahead and do that, just that. I'm going to hit him a couple times, and then we're going to get out of the way of this one there. Jump over this next attack right here, and then he's going to go for another perfect example of where I can hit him with the sword right there. Throw the sword, and that's going to push him right into phase transition as well. He's going to go for the first one, roll into that, and then we're going to roll into the second one as well. And with just one more sword throw, that's going to be Horaloo. Pretty simple. Always enjoy fighting this boss. So let's go ahead and wrap things up with Radagon and Elden Beast. So with Radagon, we're always going to want to run right to him and throw the sword right off the bat. He does remain idle for a little bit. It's a perfect opportunity to get him with a sword throw. I'm going to wait for him to bait out another attack where I can do the sword throw. I'm looking for his jump into hammer slam that he does right there. I do manage to get a little bit with the trade, but that's perfectly fine. He's going to give me the attack that I want right here. We're going to roll right into that, get behind him, and go for a sword throw. And that's going to push him into triple hammer slam range right after this next couple combos that he does. He's going to teleport backwards, go for the triple hammer slam. Roll into the first 2, and then make sure you strafe around for the third because it does have a little bit wider area of effect. Going to go for the jump there, and then with one more sword throw and a couple swings, that's going to take Radagon out. Always fun to fight him. He did go down pretty quick, but that's perfectly fine. With the Elden Beast fight, he was really movie. I know that for most cases that's usually the case, but I just thought I'd give you guys a forewarning. So this will be more of a fight breakdown than the weapon, but I'll do what I can to keep it entertaining for you guys. Right here, I do manage to get a nice full charge sword throw into him because he always starts off with the same attack, being his fire breath attack. So we're just going to go ahead and get right behind him here and go for another sword throw. So he's going to cancel out of that and go for his first ring. So I'm going to wait for him to go into the air. We'll just run around for a second here, and he's going to go ahead and go up. When the ring spawns in, it's really simple. All you guys do is just jump over it. I'm sure you guys all know this by now, but I'm just trying to do what I can to once again just keep the fight entertaining for you guys. I'm going to go ahead and jump out of the ring there, and perfect, no problem. He's going to come back out of the water over here, so I'm going to go ahead and run towards him. This first dodge, I completely mistimed it. I don't know what happened there, but it just completely bothers me, which is perfectly fine. I'm going to go ahead and go for the sword throw, which I completely whiffed, but he's going to go for his swing attack, which I do actually manage to dodge this time around. So right there and there, good dodging. We're going to go ahead and dodge the third one, jump into that, and go for a throw. And the next one I actually do manage to get another throw in there, and then he's going to go for Elden Stars. Fun fact about Elden Stars, the closer you are to him, the slower it goes. So ideally, when he goes for Elden Stars, make sure you guys are as close as possible to him because it does have way slower tracking than it would normally if it was just across the arena. Right here, he's going to go back up into the air for his triple rings instead of just the one. So instead of the one ring, it's just going to be 3, so same thing. Jump over 1, Jump over 2, and then jump over number 3 as well. Get out of that. Perfect, no problem. He's going to follow things up with his Holy Rain attack. With this one here, I like to just strafe to either the left or the right in the sprint, because you can kind of just outrun the rain and it can't really hit you. He's going to follow that up with his 4-part wave combo. The first 3 are timed perfectly. The 4th is a little bit delayed, so make sure you guys watch out for that. Right here, I thought he was going to go for a Holy Rain again, because he does do the animation, but he actually get kind of a rarer attack I don't see very often in this explosion here. Was not expecting it, but I was able to anticipate the change and get out of the way of that. Going to go ahead and charge him down here again, and once again he does manage to make things a little bit difficult for me and go into the air. This attack I always manage to miss time the dodge on it for whatever reason. I just cannot get the dodge down on it, which is fine. I still have a good amount of heals left. Going to go ahead and get a little closer to him here, unlock so I can kind of dodge a little bit easier. And this one here I do get clipped, dodged a little bit too early, which is fine. But finally I am able to present another opportunity to do a full charge sword throw, and we're going to take down Elden Beast and wrap things up. And that's also going to be today's video. I appreciate you guys watching as always. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you.